We have given roof truss as shown below, and we have to prove that triangle BCG is congruent to DCG first, and next that triangle GHB is congruent to triangle GFD. So let me first shade this first two triangles, which we have to prove that they are congruent. So we have to show that BCG, so this triangle, is congruent to DCG. To what? Maybe I can use different color. The green would be better to see. Okay, so let's see what we have given on this diagram. We have two marks on BC and DC. It means that these two sides are congruent. So we can write that BC is congruent to DC. This is given. We have given that these two sides are congruent. What else do we have here? We have that angle DCG is right angle, so has 90 degrees. It means that angle BCG has 9 degrees too, because angle BCG is supplementary angle of angle DCG. So we have given that measure of angle DCG is 90 degrees. This is given. So because DCG has 90 degrees, it means that BCG has 90 degrees too. So from this statement we have that measure of angle BCG is 90 degrees too. Why? One more time, because angle, we can write BCG is straight angle, so has 180 degrees. So from 180 degrees, if you subtract 90 degrees, it is 90 degrees. So angle BCG has 90 degrees too. It means that angle DCG is congruent to angle BCG. So we have angles congruent. What else? We can write that CG is congruent to CG by reflexive postulate. So we have that CG is congruent to CG by reflexive property. So we have two sides and angles between these two sides congruent. So by side angle side congruence postulate, we have given that these two triangles BCG and DCG are congruent. So by side angle side SAS congruence postulate, triangle BCG is congruent to triangle DCG. So we show that these two triangles are congruent. We have to show also that triangle GHB is congruent to GFD. So let me shade different color. These two triangles are congruent. So let's see what we have here. Because we just show that triangle BCG is congruent to DCG, it means that hypotenuse, because we have here right triangles, so this is our hypotenuse. These two sides are legs of our right triangles, so this hypotenuse is congruent to that. Why? We just have this from proof that triangle BCG is congruent to triangle DCG. Because if these two triangles are congruent, it means that corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So we can write that GB and GD are congruent. So from this statement, we have now that GB segment is congruent to GD. We have also given that HB is congruent to FD because we have this red marks on these two sides. So we have that HB is congruent to FD. This is given. And what else we have here? We have that this angle has 20 degrees. Angle FDG. We can write that measure of angle FDG is 20 degrees. This is given. What else we have given? We have given that measure of angle CBG is 70 degrees. And because we have here right angle to ABH angle is right angle, so we can write that measure of angle ABH is 90 degrees. Because ABH has 90 degrees, it means that angle, we can write BCBH is right angle too. So we can write that measure of angle CBH is 90 degrees too. Why? Because angle ABC is straight angle, so has 180 degrees. On the left side we have that this angle is right angle, so on the right side angle CBH must be 90 degrees too. So we can write this red square. And what else? Because we have given this angle and BCG has 70 degrees, so if we subtract from angle CBH angle CBG, we will have angle GBH, the measure of angle GBH. So let me write this, that measure of angle CBH, we can write that is equal to measure of angle CBG plus GBH. Measure of angle CBG plus measure of angle GBH. And we have given that CBG, this is given 70 degrees, and we just have that CBH is 90 degrees, so we can substitute measure of angle CBH by 90 degrees is equal measure of angle CBG G is 70 degrees. This is given. And we have plus measure of angle GBH. So we can calculate from this equation measure of angle GBH. I will move 70 to the left side, so it will be 90 degrees minus 70 degrees. This is equal measure of angle GBH. So it means that the measure of angle GBH is 20 degrees, because 90 minus 70, this is 20 degrees. We found that the measure of angle GBH is 20 degrees. And we have given that the measure of angle FDG is 20 degrees too. So we have here that this angle is 20 degrees too. So now we see that we have two triangles which have, the blue triangles, which have two congruent sides, and angles between these two sides are congruent. They have 20 degrees. So by side congruence postulate, we have that triangle GHB is congruent to GFD. So let me write this, that by side angle congruence postulate triangle GHB is congruent to triangle GFD. This is my solution.